Angie's going to be introducing Alex Alvarez. She is now the founder and land steward of Hummingbird Springs Farm in Florala, Alabama, and is co-director of the Braiding Seeds Fellowship. So please welcome Angie.
Estongon Wvkokaye. Good morning. Mado, thank you all for being here. Today I have the pleasure of introducing my friend, Mr. Alex Alvarez. Alex resides in Flomaton, Alabama, with his wife Amber and his children Sydney, Colby, Yanasa, and Iaxi. His ancestral tribal town is Yufalv, and he is of the Tvlahase Wvkokaye, which is Bird Clan. He is a proud member of the Tvlahase Wvkokaye Ceremonial Grounds near Okfuske County, Oklahoma. He was born and raised in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, where he grew up fishing and exploring the many bays, bayous, and estuaries. This led to Alex developing an immense passion for coastal flora and fauna in his shell carving art forms. Alex graduated with a bachelor's degree in elementary education from the University of West Florida in 2005. And he then earned his master's degree in gifted education from the Troy University in 2024. He serves as the gifted specialist for Escambia County, Alabama school system, as well as continues his artwork, and he does cultural consultations for several organizations and tribes. Please join me in a huge round of applause for Mr. Alex Alvarez.
It's a huge honor to be in front of you all today. I haven't done many of these land acknowledgements. I want to come to you all in a respectful way and share what little cultural knowledge I have. I'm still a young man. I'm still learning myself. My elders always teach me to refer to yourself as a child so that you always keep an open mind. So with that, I also want to apologize for what I may say or what I may look over. There's a lot of individuals in this room who have a lot more knowledge than me on different issues and languages in your own home fires. And so I wanted to express my apologies ahead of time for anything that I may say or leave out. But I witnessed my first land acknowledgement back in 2008 in Washington, D.C. And, it was kind of odd because up until then, we didn't really have them. And I felt the importance of that because giving a voice to the land, giving a voice to the people whose either home once was or is taking up that physical space. But I want to make one thing very clear that I've learned is that the land doesn't need our acknowledgement. The land doesn't need our voice. It's for us. It's for us to understand that our relationship to our spaces. I want to begin today with the motif that you see on the screen. This is one of the oldest motifs that represent our core values as Muskogee people, as many Southeastern people. And in the center, you see the cross, or the four cardinal points encompassed by a sun. And the sun is the most sacred symbol. If you look out this way, you see the shimmering water. And long ago, as the people, whether they came from this region or immigrated here, way before pre-colonial contact, they believed that the sun every day was setting into a great body of water. And when it came out again, it came out fresh and new. So basically, that body of water was cleansing that sun. And so they tried to emulate that. So every morning, the people from what became the 5 civilized tribes, they would go to the creeks, the rivers, the streams, the branches, and they would immerse themselves, no matter the temperature. It didn't matter if it was storming, it didn't matter if it was frost or ice or snow or whatever. Everyone from the village or the tribal town would go down to the water and bathe. And what that represented was making yourself anew, taking away your sin, your wrongdoing, your bad thoughts, your evil wishes, and letting them go into the water so that you could start that day new, every day. And there's a lot to be said from that. But that kind of goes to show you the power of our water systems. Of course, we're known as Creek Indians because the English, we would tell the English our traditional names, and they couldn't pronounce them. And say, well, we're just going to call you Creek Indians because you live by creeks. So that's how we got that nickname. But these washing off practices are still done today with different, in different shapes, forms, or fashions. And I just wanted to make note of that. But to kind of continue along with the importance of these water systems, even today, we believe that any type of reptile that doesn't that uses the water as a home, whether it be a turtle, a snake, an alligator, we don't ingest. We don't eat that because if we go down, that water might lose respect for us. And so these are traditions that we still keep in contact. And if there's any Florida Seminoles out there, they're a branch from our original people. But they have permission to, because at the time when the U.S. Cavalry was chasing the Seminoles further and further into the swamps, they were almost going to starve. And so they asked the Miko alligator, the chief, the oldest alligator that was living, for permission. He gave that tribe permission to take their bodies so that they could survive. So I just wanted to make note of that. But you know, it's crazy to as an educator now, you look at combining the scientific research, the archaeological records with traditional records, and I don't know that there's a lot of people who can do that because our elders are so busy trying to pass down everything they can do, and it takes people, you know, from a Western background, a Western education to kind of combine that and teach both. And so I try to walk with both feet. And after the oil spill in 2010, I worked with the tribal historic preservation team, working on documenting the shell middens that were affected by all along the Gulf. And you know, when I found something that was amazing to me, that even in Tampa and St. Petersburg, most of those islands, Treasure Island, St. Petersburg Beach, all those were built on shelled middens that Temuco and Calusa tribal populations built. And so through the life, it was actually building land, building estuaries. And I don't know that there's a better view of a relationship between the land and its people, the stewards. And so I'm sure many of you all in here can reflect with that. But you know, the Gulf itself, and this region here, of course, I've built a personal relationship with it. My mother always took me to the bays and bayous during the summertime. She was an educator as well, and I loved going to the beach. Not just this type of beach, but also, you know, the little bit more rugged, the back road ones, and that's where I learned to explore. I got hurt, and you know, understood what things were, and developed that personal relationship. But it wasn't until much later in life that I learned that the reason why my mom kept me out at those beaches so long is because we didn't have AC at home, and so she was trying to take a break from that. And I don't know, it's something that I always treasure. But one of the things that I learned probably maybe 8 or 9 years old was this realization of the power of these tides, and that power. And when that sun is setting and it was almost time to go home, it had all this force and then it just relaxed. And you know, later in life, and I teach my students now how the moon and gravity impacts the ebb and flow of our tides. And again, you're putting that scientific knowledge with something that I've experienced. And now I get to pour that into my kids and make them curious and make them explore, hopefully not get hurt. Another part of that, you know, kind of reminds me of fishing. And when I was younger, we would go on these little grass baits. We had a raft, a little blow-up raft boat that we'd push out. And man, when I tell you all, we ate everything we caught. Ladyfish, bluefish, pinfish, everything that was considered, you know, gross or bait. We were still bringing it home. But back then, my mom was only getting 9 paychecks a year, so the summertime was always harsh in our houses, especially for a single parent. And so, those fish were the best I ever had back then. And I also remember we had a local, we only got like 10 stations at home, and had a local TV station that was kind of like Fish Talk or something. And it would come on every Sunday evening. And one day I called in just because I was so excited. And I asked them what the limit of hardtail was. And if you don't know what hardtail are, they're bait fish. And so the guy kind of he chuckled. He's like, well, there's no limit, buddy. You can catch as much as you want. But, I had to kind of dig in and learn. But that was when I learned that, hey, not everything you're catching is actually, supposed to be on the dinner plate. But we were like through the moon if we would catch a mangrove snapper or a pompano or Spanish mackerel. That was like eating a delicacy. So I have this huge important relationship with the Gulf and the where we are today. But it's not just the Southeast that calls this Gulf home. If you were to travel down the peninsula and go down to the Caribbean, and this Gulf kind of makes a circle. And just because these people didn't have oil and gas did not mean they didn't communicate. But in the designs, the motifs in the middle are actually come from the Taino, the Arawak, and the Carib people from present-day Cuba, the island of Hispaniola, the coast of Venezuela, Aruba. And as you can see on the left-hand side, that's a bubble net. And I'm sure many of you all know what makes those porpoises, dolphins, and marine mammals like whales. They'll make these nets, and it forces the bait fish in the tighter and tighter circles, and then they come up from beneath and catch. And the dolphins do it a little differently. They'll do it in the shallow water to make the mullet confused in the kicking up so much sediment on the bottom, but they stay in the middle, kind of the same purpose. And then on the bottom left-hand side, you see a beautiful image from the James Webb Telescope in space. And so, when I started to study these designs with my artwork, I learned that there's something here. There's something that there was this awareness of powers, and higher powers, the combination of the natural world and ceremonial beliefs combined into art. But if you look at any Native American dictionary, I don't know about all of the languages, but I know where the Southeast ones, you'll never find a word for art. You'll never find a word for religion. You'll never find a word for philosophy. And it doesn't mean that we didn't have these things. It means that because they were embedded in our daily life, that we didn't separate them into those categories. And on this slide here, this is one of the earliest examples that you can see. This comes from the Swift Creek pottery culture near present-day Macon, Georgia. And you see that double helix again. So this art's telling a story. These designs are telling us that these people that shared this Gulf South region home were communicating. Maybe not directly, but possibly indirectly. And I'll never forget, in Fort Walton, when I was a child, they dug up a canoe that was made out of Brazilian wood, and the archaeologists were just going crazy. Like, how did it get here? But if you look at the Gulf, all you have to do is hug the coastline, and you stay safe. And so it's pretty easy to leave the coast of South America and to stay on that route, and you would have met, hundreds of different small tribal populations. But and again, this Gulf region. I mentioned the Timucua, the Calusa. There's many other tribes that are not with us anymore. But the Gulf itself helped those tribes survive a century of Spanish colonialism through hurricanes and through wrecks, through warfare. The Gulf helped these people survive, and at least the least I can do is pass down a little bit of their knowledge with these designs. This show here is extremely important. This is called a lightning whelk, and it is the only place that you can find it is in the Gulf of Mexico. It doesn't grow anywhere else. It has distant cousins, the Atlantic whelk and other whelks across the globe, but the lightning whelk the Gulf is the only place you can find it, and is also the only left-handed opening shell in the world. It's the only left-handed univalve in the world. So if I say left-handed, it means that that inward spiral goes counterclockwise. And that is a direction that we do everything in. Many other tribes, especially in the plains, do things clockwise, but we do things counterclockwise. And, I don't think it's a coincidence that that's also the direction that our storms, even our hurricanes, they all spin counterclockwise. When we dance, our traditional dances, we all move counterclockwise. And so nature, and being close to it, has given us these blueprints on how to live. And so that lightning walk, the center, as well as that dance, it represents our 4 stages of life. You go from an infant to a child to an adult to an elder, and then at the end of that, it starts over again. And so we have to understand our place, and the relationship with these shells, with these designs, help us ground that belief. But these lightning walks were used for many, many different things, all the way from hurricane shelters to tools to beads, and also ceremonial cups. And these cups were used to ingest medicine. After being doctored or blessed, they would dip the shell into the container and then drink it until they would vomit. And again, it wasn't they call it a wodi in Creek. It wasn't to gross. It was considered to purge your inside, to get all the bad, all the sickness out of you, so that you could be anew again. This is a cup that I made. You can kind of tell it's an arduous process, taking out that spine in the middle, smoothing it down. And again, you see the 4 logs and the sun motif. But engraved in each cup was a song, was a prayer. And I believe that they might have been, either passed down through a clan or through individuals, but you're not just looking at a pretty design. There was a lot of significance made in these. So one of the oldest examples that I'll show you with this lightning well, you can find it all the way up to southern Canada and southern Ontario. And this shell was so sought out after. You can find it in almost every mound complex anywhere in the United States as well as southern Canada. And they were trading. It's just like how we could find remnants of obsidian down here. We don't have any volcanic glass, but we were trading for it using this shell. So represents a vast, vast network. But again, inside this design, you see the sun motif surrounded by a square that has a counterclockwise scrolls, and then our woodpecker all facing counterclockwise, the direction of life. But each year at Greencorn, our New Year, Christmas kind of wrapped up into one big celebration and ceremony. The chief, or the Miko of the tribal town, he puts these 4 logs down, and that's one of the most important times. And inside that idola, we have pillars of how we're supposed to live. Iaskada, which means to be meek and mildly mannered. Ganjupkada means to hold yourself low to the ground physically, but also keeping the earth in mind all the time. And Anolgichka, which is unconditional love and respect. And so when they put those logs down, if you can imagine, when you put an east log down, it sends an invisible line all the way around the globe that connects to the west one. And when they put the south log down, it has an invisible line that goes all the way around the globe and connects to the north one. And what that represents is that how we treat each other inside that ceremonial space is how we're supposed to be all the time. And so here is a piece of art that's 900 years old, but we can still find value in today's life. So some of my favorite pieces to do are where I combine that passion between the natural world, celebrating the natural world, but also honoring our ceremonial beliefs. And I've learned so much about myself through being obsessive about my art form, and I'm very happy to share that when I have time after teaching. I hope that you all have a wonderful conference, and I want to close today by offering a prayer song so that you all can go off in a good way and just kind of keep those things, what Josh and Jessica said, on your minds and in your hearts. If y'all please rise. Chalathane Samomes, Chalathane Samomes, oh Chalathane Samomes, Hemekos apagis, Mekos apage, Toyatskade, Hemekos apage, Salathane Samomes, Chalathane Samomes, oh Chalathane Samomes, Hemekos apagis. Unwekarin, Moroji guys just did. So, Mado, thank you all again. And again, for you all who are getting your hands dirty, providing nutrition, providing sustainability, my heart goes with you all. Mado.